Our Vitex trees are blooming and they look so pretty. You might know this as a chaste tree or chastity tree. I don't know how people like to say it. I've heard it so many different ways, but we just know it as Vitex. And we have at least, let's see, 2, 4, 6 of these trees on our property. I planted them a couple years ago and they get pretty big. We grow them like trees instead of shrubs. I also have a white one. The white one here is a bit smaller, but it's beautiful for cut flowers when you make arrangements and things. Look at that, my Sun King sunflowers are blooming. Let's go take a look. So pretty, prettier than last year. And these are from seeds that I saved. So they do look different. So they must have cross-pollinated with something because they've got some longer rays on the outside than the originals from last year. I'll see if I can find a picture from last year so you can see, but I kind of like it. And here's what I'm most excited about. This is my Coco Loco rose, you guys. It is so stunning so far. I cannot wait for these to open up the rest of the way. But isn't that so beautiful? Oh, I love it. I cannot wait to do a whole row of these next year. But alas, today is all about this rose mallow. It's so beautiful. It's in the hibiscus family and it's hardy down to -20. Can you believe that? However, you have to use, if you have gophers in your area, you're gonna need to use some gopher baskets because they love eating these. So this is what we're gonna plant up today. I'm gonna give you a few instructions as I'm planting. I'll probably do a little voiceover for that. But isn't she beautiful? I'll make sure to link these gopher baskets down below. The pack I'm using came with, I think it was 3 5-gallon and 3 3-gallon and then a couple of 1-gallons. But I have to warn you that the 1-gallons are too small for a 1-gallon pot. So I highly recommend going 3 gallons and up. What I'm going to be using is, I guess this is the 3-gallon, but it looks more like a 1-gallon to me. So these rose mallow plants, like I said earlier, are a favorite food of gophers. So I would not be planting this if I didn't have a gopher basket to put it in. Rose mallow is native to the lower eastern part of the United States, and you usually see it growing in marshes or swampy areas. I did plant one of these when I first moved here, and I planted it over by the pond and it did not survive. But the plant that I had was gifted to me and it was struggling. You'll know when your rose mallow is struggling because it'll immediately stop blooming. And then you'll see leaves fall like you would with any plant that's struggling. They don't like their roots disturbed. So when you do go to plant these, make sure you don't rough up those roots. You don't need to do that. And then you want to add some water to the hole that you're going to be planting in, just to prevent a little bit of root shock. And also, I'm not going to be adding any fertilizer to my hole here because I want to give this plant the best chance possible. They do like well draining soil, but they like their soil to stay moist all the time. You don't want to let these dry out. So if you have a wet area of your property, that's probably a better place to plant this. This is actually a fairly dry area, but because I have a whole test drift planted here, I know that I'm going to be paying close attention to it so I can water it every day. I'm also going to put 4 to 6 inches of mulch around my plant just to keep some moisture in there, and hopefully it likes that, and that's enough to keep the soil moist. But from here until probably about September, I'm probably going to have to water this every day or every other day because this is our driest time of year. So here I'm just adding water to the hole because the soil is pretty dry here, and I've also put in a bucket of compost. I'm not putting any fertilizer or slow release fertilizer in here because I don't want to shock the plant, and it really shouldn't need it. Our soil is pretty nitrogen rich. You'll also notice that I've dug quite a big hole for this small plant, and that's just to loosen up the soil around it so the roots can root in easily. That's a really good idea when you're planting rose mallow, is you want to plant it in loose soil so it can get established. So digging a bigger hole is a good idea just to make sure that soil is loose around the plant. Rose mallow is hardy in zones 4 through 9, so quite a bit of you should be able to plant one of these and enjoy it year after year. Now I'm just going to add a bunch of mulch around the plant in hopes that that's going to keep some moisture in the soil, and then I'm going to water this in really well. In the winter, you will cut this back completely because it'll die completely back, and then I'll probably just cover mine in another layer of mulch. Rose mallow is supposed to be a very prolific bloomer. As far as I know, it will continue to bloom from early summer well into fall. Some even say up until the first freeze. They also will produce seed, and their seed pods will look like short stubby okra because they're in the same family. Okra is in the hibiscus family as well. So you can save seed from these and plant them the following year as well. That's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed seeing me plant this rose mallow, and I will make sure to do updates probably next year to see if it survives the winter. We've got a storm rolling in, so I've got to go, but thank you so much for watching.